Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday evening, and you know what that means. That means it is time for the Sunday Night League. We are here at Mount Panorama in Bathurst, Australia, for the fifth and final round of the SNL GTE Season 10. It has been a legendary season. We are into our 10th round, as mentioned. We have a couple champions on the grid, and several championship competitors. At least three, I believe. I will pull up the information for you so that we can go through that on our way through the grid. But as you can see, we will be starting under the night sky, the stars up above, and lights flooding the circuit. It is extremely early in the morning in Mount Panorama for the time of our race. So we will be watching the sun rise as cars fly by on this mountain circuit. If you're unfamiliar with the circuit of Mount Panorama, let me tell you a little bit about it. 23 corners on this circuit. Some of the most legendary scenes in motorsport. You'll see cars flying along skyline, going into the S's, going to the chase at the end of the Conrad Straight. Turn 23 and turn 1, both 90-degree left-handers. Those are probably the easiest corners on the circuit, but do not mistake that for meaning they are easy. Even if they are the easiest, they are still great challenges for our drivers. You may very well see some mistakes, some large curbs on those corners. Very easy to get some oversteer. The length of this circuit is 6.213 kilometers. That is 3.861 miles. If you were wondering, some of the best overtaking zones on this circuit consist of turn 1, 2, 10, 19, 20. I have to say I kind of disagree with 19, but 20, 22, and 23. I disagree with turn 20. That is, apologies, turn 19. That is a difficult overtaking zone. You might see some overtakes there, but it would be pretty difficult to pull off. We have 31 laps ahead of us in this race. If I can finally get the standings up, I can. There we go. So, you will notice this is a unique circuit in the fact that the top two will start perfectly even on the grid. It is Silent Wolf in that Shell Ferrari who will start on pole, although you will see this game tends to show second place as in first before they've gotten off the line. So although the game will tell you that Victory Rain in this Victory Fuel Porsche, who is starting second, it will tell you he is in first. That is a mistake. It is Silent Wolf who is starting on pole position, followed by, as I said, Victory Rain in the Victory Fuel Porsche. Third will be, and this is where it gets ultra confusing, I believe third will be Moore Cherry in the number 18 DK Engineering Porsche. We'll see what he can do off the line. A good season for him so far. No podiums yet, but that could be subject to change. We did see him get a podium, of course, back in not Daytona, sorry, Watkins Glen in Formula X. However, I should say I've actually made a mistake. I've looked at the wrong qualifying results. It is Victory Rain starting on pole position in that Victory Fuel Porsche. I apologize for that mistake, as it is Silent Wolf who will be starting second in that Shell Ferrari, which I believe also means that the glitch is fixed with the starting order. And thank you, Polyphony, for that. That was a very frustrating glitch to find every time we've come to Mount Panorama in the past. You'll find third place will actually be in the Sega Mercedes Bunnies 9999. He is also in championship contention. I should tell you about the championship order. Victory Rain on pole sits in second in the championship on 83 points. Silent Wolf in second on the grid is first in the championship, 97 points. Victory Rain coming off a victory in Daytona. Silent Wolf coming off second in Daytona and first in all three of the prior races of the season. Bunnies in third on the grid and third in the championship on 80 points, coming off 2 third places in a row. Next up, we do have Morcherry in that DK Engineering Porsche. Morcherry sits in 7th in the championship on 46 points. Comparatively, we have Gasman next in the Man-Filter Mercedes. Gasman sits in 4th in the championship on 74 points. 6 points, therefore, off of his teammate Bunnies. He does sit in striking distance of his teammate, should he be able to beat him in the race. The championship still up for grabs, theoretically speaking, for 4, I believe, of our drivers. Indeed, 4 of our drivers still in contention. That is, of course, Silent Wolf, Victory Rain, Bunnies, and Gasman. Gasman, very much a long shot. He would need to win with Silent Wolf failing to finish the race or coming last. Not even, he would actually have to fail to finish the race. Bunnies would need a similarly spectacular result, and Victory Rain only being 3 points ahead of him. Although it is very much still possible for Victory Rain to win this championship, it will be difficult. He goes in starting from pole, though, so a decent chance for him. Next up on the grid, starting in 6th position, as you'll conveniently see the numbers sitting right in front of these cars, is Yax. Yax in that Vodafone Mercedes makes it 3 Mercedes in the top 6, a very good qualifying result for the Mercedes, who will, of course, have qualified on the softs. That goes the same for the Porsches, but the Ferraris will have qualified on mediums. We'll get into tires a little bit later on. Now, let's take a look. Yax getting 6th. Next up is another Canadian. It is 7th place for the Ajax Porsche of Ajax. Using the soap sharing a name with his username for his title sponsor this season, Ajax starts 7th, the second of the Porsches, followed by the third of the Porsches. It's a Lowy in the 711 Porsche, starting 8th, number 57, going from 8th on the grid. We'll see what he can do. He'll be looking to move up the grid a bit as we start under the lights. Next up on the grid will be Jam in the BWT Mercedes. He is starting 9th. Apologies, not Jam. I've made a mistake again. Apologies for that. That's actually Slenderfella. Jam feeling under the weather this week. Slenderfella starts 9th in that BWT Mercedes. The number 21 will be looking good there. The number 42 iHeartRadio Porsche starting in 10th position. 11th will be the Deutsche Post 11th, number 2, apologies. 11th placed Mercedes for Ben. Next up will be the Victoria's Secret number 36, starting in 12th, Ferrari for Poolshark. Then it is the Francorchamps Motors number 59 Ferrari, starting in 13th for Tiny Terror, followed by his teammate Chris Fu, starting 14th, the number 22 Apex Ferrari. We'll see what he can do. Usually the Merchant driver putting in a better qualifying result than that. I'm sure we'll see him moving up the grid rapidly. And last but not least, one of the champions on the grid, the Hot Wheels Ferrari, number 86, Cool Dude Boy, will start in 15th. We'll see what he can do. Coming from last on the grid, we'll be certain to see him moving up, sitting in 5th in the championship. So to finish running you through the championship order quickly before we go, first, Silent Wolf, second, Victory Rain, third, Bunnies, fourth, Gasman, fifth, Cool Dude Boy, sixth is Yax, seventh is Morcherry, eighth is Ajax, ninth, Rob on Drums, 10th, Aloe, 11th, Tiny Terror, 12th, Jam, 13th, Pool Shark, 14th, Ben, 15th, Crispoo, and 16th, our reserve from round 1, Kaiser. However, in the Constructors' standings, it is an immensely close battle for the championship. Team Beast Mode Mercedes is in first on 237 points. A mere 6 points back is Punisher Firestone Racing. Those are the Porsches. They sit on 231 points. And not that far back either, 218 points for Shadow Realm Racing. That's the Ferraris, who have won 3 out of 4 races so far. Mercedes lead the team's championship. However, they stand as the only team yet to win a race. However, they have had podiums in all 3 races. As a matter of fact, 3 out of 4 races so far this season shared by all 3 teams on the podium. We'll see if that record continues, make it 4 out of 5 races so far this season. Let's go through the tires rapidly. It's not too complex. It is medium hard for the Ferraris, it is soft hard for the Porsches, and it is a very powerful soft for the Mercedes. We'll see how that plays out. You can expect the Ferraris to struggle a little bit on pace at the beginning of stints, but those mediums should carry them far into those stints, while the Porsches and Ferraris will have to use the hards at some point during the race. The Mercedes can push flat out throughout the entire race on those hards. We get ready to see this circuit. The race lap record in real life, a 159.2. I don't think we'll see the cars getting up to that. As a matter of fact, the fastest lap in qualifying, pole position for Victory Lane, was a 202.4, 7 whole tenths ahead of Silent Wolf with a 203.1. And it goes on from there. Now, we are finally ready to get into this race. Let's race under the lights. An exciting challenge here for the drivers. We'll see how this goes for them. A challenging circuit, a brilliant circuit. Let's get racing here at Mount Panorama for the final round of GTE Season 10. We have 2, 3... Oh, let's change that quickly. Apologies before we go. We have all 15 drivers lined up on the grid. It is Victory Lane on pole position, 5 red lights. The lights are out and we are racing here at Mount Panorama, but it's a jump start, I think, from Cherry Bomb, who does not get going right away. He will take a minor penalty for that right off the line. He's already served that, but it is Silent Wolf who leads off the line. Bunnies jumps up into second ahead of Victory Lane, but we'll see. Silent Wolf has moved over to the left-hand side of the track. That will give Victory Lane slipstream down towards turn 2. A very difficult turn 2 will swoop uphill to the right here. Silent Wolf into turn 2. It's Bunnies who edges off ahead of Victory Lane there. Gasman 4th, 5th is Cherry Bomb, 6th is Yax, and I think we saw an incident involving Ajax there, I think hitting the wall, indeed, down to left. We'll go back and see what happened there, as there seems to have been contact between multiple drivers there. Ajax sits in 7th, going down towards turn 2. What will happen here? We'll go on board with him for a moment, possibly just outbraking himself there. Takes a bit of damage, but we see Slenderfella doing the exact same thing there in that BWT Mercedes. So very chaotic turn 2 there, and it's a difficult corner to manage, so I can't blame the drivers for making that mistake. I wouldn't be surprised to see that mistake made several more times throughout the race. It is Silent Wolf on those mediums who leads the way. Bunnies on the softs should have a tire advantage at the moment though, so we'll see if he can close in on the Ferrari. Victory Lane sits in 3rd. Gasman putting pressure on the back of him, but he can't stop looking behind him as Cherry Bomb is sitting behind him as well. We head down the hill through Skyline down into the S's for the first time this race. We see lots of cars getting a little squirrely there, side by side for Ben and Cool Dude Boy, it looks like there. Cool Dude Boy making it out in 11th, Ben ahead of him in 10th, Slenderfella in 12th, apologies, 13th is Tiny Terror, 14th Ajax, and 15th at the moment is Pool Shark, who potentially made a mistake. He looks like he's fallen a little bit behind the rest of the pack, but he is on hards, so it's going to be difficult to keep up at the moment, as it looks like most drivers on their softer tires, but not Pool Shark. It is Silent Wolf who leads the way into the chase. That's turns 21 and 22. This chicane here will head down to the final corner of the circuit, turn 23, in just a moment, but it is Bunnies who sits second behind Silent Wolf, Victory Lane behind him, Gasman in 4th, Cherry Bomb in 5th. We'll see Yax in 6th, clipping the grass a little bit, but keeping it going is the Canadian. Aloe in 7th, falling a little ways behind Yax. He is on the hards though. So that is the Porsche on the hards. That is going to be a difficult situation to manage, as on the softs, Ben is going to swoop around the outside of turn 1. Can he make the move? Can he pull it off? He cannot quite do it. Let's take a moment to just listen to the engines. as we have now seen Ben getting past Deloe, followed by Cool Dude Boy. It is Crispu who's up into 10th from starting 14th, so a very good start for the Mauritian driver. Slenderfella is sitting in 11th, but Ajax is putting a lot of pressure on the Brit. Can the BWT Mercedes survive the Ajax Porsche attack? We will see as we head through the mountain. We head through this left-hander, and then it's Skyline, followed by the S's. Skyline, one of the most iconic places in all of motorsports. A brilliant view there, as we could see down the mountain. Ajax has to sit behind Thunderfella for the time being, but we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 car train heading down the S's, heading down the mountain into what is now, I believe, turn 18 and 19 here. Indeed, this little left-hander here, or back there, was, yes, right there, is turn 19, Forest's Elbow, as it is known. Victory Rain sits in second now. I've missed that, as Victory Rain has gotten ahead of Bunnies, who is now under pressure from his teammate Gasman. Gasman not too far behind Bunnies in the championship, but Bunnies even closer to Victory Rain in the championship. On the other hand, on track, it is Gasman who is inching ever closer to the back of that Sega Mercedes. Silent Wolf leads the way still. A very strong gap here. It looks to be several seconds, in fact. So very, very powerful for Silent Wolf on those mediums, getting away brilliantly. And the longer this stint goes on, the better the mediums will become in comparison to the softs. We have Gasman on the back of Bunnies now, down towards turn 2. He's going to look down the inside, but he thinks better of it well before the braking zone. Gasman deciding not to go for a move into turn 2, as we have our top 4 in one shot there for a moment. Yaks on the back of Cherry Bomb. We'll see if this is a potential move for the Canadian. We'll go inside this Mercedes, the Vodafone Mercedes, on the back of the DK Engineering Porsche. Through, that was turn 3 and 4 there, up through 5, up through 6 now. We'll see what Yaks can do. He's falling back in the dirty air a little bit. We'll look further behind. Ben looks very comfortable, alone on his own on the circuit. It's a few seconds back to Aloe, who I must say is managing very, very nicely on those hards, the highest hard runner at the moment. It is Crispu who sits behind him, also on the hard compound tire, which makes his rise up from 14th to 9th. That much more impressive that he's done all of that on the hard tires. Softs for Ajax, who sits behind the Mauritian. The Canadian will be looking to make a move here as the Mauritian, Crispu, makes a mistake and Ajax swoops through the S's, through at turn 16. Ajax is through now on Crispu. Slenderfella sits behind in the Mercedes. Then it is Cool Shark, Cool Dude Boy, Rob on drums, and Tiny Terror here 13th, 14th, 15th. So it's Ferrari, Porsche, Ferrari. We'll call that a Ferrari sandwich, although generally you call sandwiches by what's in the middle, not what's on the outsides. Tiny Terror sits in 15th, though he'll be looking to pressure Rob on drums, but Rob quite close to the back of Cool Dude Boy. Both of these drivers, champions of SNL, I believe, as I believe Rob on drums, one of the original Porsche Cup champions, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, Cool Dude Boy, champion of both GTE and Formula X. Season 5 for Formula X, Season 6, I believe, for GTE. But we are here in Season 10. It has been a while since both of those championships. A rapid driver still, but still yet to score a podium in this season of GTE. That is one of the biggest surprises of the season. I'd say one of the other biggest surprises is 3 out of 4 wins for Silent Wolf at the moment. Up until a fuel miscalculation in Daytona, it looked like it could be a clean sweep for Silent Wolf. But Victory Rain, who now sits on the back of him, is looking like, well, he did stop that clean sweep, and he's looking like he could make it 2 out of 5 wins for himself, and only 3 out of 5 wins for Silent Wolf. At the moment, given his pace, he is closing in on Silent Wolf, it appears. Bunny's behind him, pulling away from his teammate Gasman a little bit in the Man Filter Mercedes. That snake-like livery snaking through the circuit. Behind him is Cherry Bomb, who's pulling away a little bit from Yaks. Cherry Bomb or More Cherry, whichever you'd prefer to refer to him by. Yaks, as I said, in 6th, Ben in 7th, A very German livery for him, looking very good, sitting in 7th on those soft compound tires, about halfway through his fuel. I'd say now is actually a good time to go through the fuel for some drivers. Just over half of his fuel left for Silent Wolf, same for Victory Rain. It's the same position for Bunnies, who has a tiny bit less in the tank even. Tiny bit less than that for Gasman, in fact. Morcherry looking very good on his fuel, followed by Yax, looking like he's struggling a little bit compared to those around him, but not doing a bad job on fuel himself. Ben doing decently on fuel as well. Really, all the drivers looking quite similar. The highest on fuel looks pretty different to the lowest on fuel, but really all of them within a relatively similar range as it stands. Grisboo sits behind Slenderfella at the moment. Ajax up to 9th, so he got past Slenderfella not too long ago, and now putting pressure on his teammate, Aloe, in that brilliant 7-Eleven livery. We'll see if Ajax can get through. Both of these drivers racing for Punisher Firestone Racing, so no incidents wanted there. Definitely don't want to make any mistakes with that. As Ajax does make it through at turn 2, as I took a bad moment to look away at my stats for a moment. It was Aloe makes a bit of a mistake. He's in the barrier at turn 4. Ajax through on Aloe, and Aloe into the barrier for a moment there at the cutting. So some very interesting corner names on this circuit. I have to say I quite like a lot of the names. They're very, very cool. But moreover, the circuit itself is very, very cool. Described by my brother as a circuit sort of like taking a very aggressive downhill ski course, but in a race car. And I think that is a brilliant depiction of the circuit. Lap 5, Silent Wolf sits in first. Second place is Victory Rain. It looks like he might have dropped off the back of Silent Wolf a tiny bit. 2/10 dropped on the previous lap, but Victory Rain does currently hold the fastest lap of the race, so no shortage of pace there for the Victory Fuel Porsche. Bunnies still sits in third. He's got a distance back to Gasman now, though, so the Sega Mercedes pulling away from his teammate. Then it is Cherry Bomb. Then it is Yax. Ben closing in on Yax a little bit, it looks like. Indeed, he is a 2:04.0 on the previous lap for Ben, compared to a 2:05.3 for Yax on the previous lap. Ajax, a 2:06.3 on the previous lap, so dropping back from the drivers ahead, but ahead of Aloe. We saw that move at turn 2, Quarry last lap. Slenderfella looking good in that, in the number 21 BWT Mercedes, sits in 10th position on those soft tires, keeping them under control. We're on lap 6 of the race, and I would say you can expect pit stops anywhere from, I would estimate, end of next lap to a lap or two after that, depending on how much fuel individual drivers are planning on saving. Of course, 8-8-8-7, a reasonable strategy for this race. That'll bring you end of lap 8, end of lap 16, end of lap 24, and then right to the end of the race for your fuel and tire stints. As sliding through the dipper is Silent Wolf. That's turn 18. Managing nicely, though. A 2:02.5 on the previous lap. That is an absurdly quick lap time. From the Shell Ferrari, Silent Wolf is absolutely piling on the pace to pull away from Victory Rain at the moment, who is suffering on those soft compound tires. Look at the front right of that Porsche. That is a damaged front right. We'll see if it's any better on the cars around him. Almost identical tire wear for Bunnies. It looks like Bunnies' rear's looking a tiny bit better. Gasman very similar to Bunnies as well, maybe a tiny bit better on the softs, or on the fronts, apologies. Looking a lot better for Cherry Bomb, though. Cherry Bomb being very, very careful on his tires and on his fuel. Look at how much fuel Cherry Bomb has saved. That DK Engineering Porsche is looking very, very nice on the fuel and on the tires. So I would expect him to be going a couple more laps, whereas it seems these drivers maybe have time for I'd say one more lap after this one, but it's very possible they could be boxing at the end of this lap. Hard to say, really, as Silent Wolf still leads the way. This is some brilliant pace from him, pulling away another 8/10 on the previous lap from Victory Reign. So this is dominance absolute from Silent Wolf. Then it is Victory Reign in second, Bunny's in third, fourth is Gazman, who is closing back up to the back of his Mercedes teammate. Gazman, of course, also the team principal at Mercedes, the only team principal driver on the grid this season. Next up, Cherry Bomb, fifth. Sixth is Yax. I'd say Ben looks to be falling off the back of Yax a bit now. A 2:05.5 on the previous lap, so not his best lap time, about a second and a half off of it, in fact. Ajax sitting comfortably in 8th position, no pressure in front, no pressure from behind. The number 12 Porsche looking good as he heads down the S's now. It'll be a Lowy now, exiting Skyline, heading down the S's himself. He is almost 2/10 up on his personal best lap on those hards. A 2:06.1 is his personal best, and I would imagine, based on that fuel, he'll go another lap or two. So a Lowy looking very good there. I think Slenderfella will have to be in at the end of this lap, though. On those soft compound tires, look at how low his fuel is. The BWT Mercedes surely will be in at the end of this lap. We have a 4-car train here. We have, almost 5 cars. Crispoo a few meters extra off the back of this, but Crispoo in 15th, then it's Tiny Terror, Pool Shark, Rob on drums, and Cool Dude Boy in quick succession. As we look back from Cool Dude Boy now, a little bit far back to be looking from, or a little bit far ahead to be looking back from him, in fact. Then it's Rob on drums, followed by Pool Shark, who's under pressure from his teammate, Tiny Terror, so it's not looking great for the Ferraris this race. 11th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and first, of course, so looking good for one of the Ferraris as we got our first drivers in the pits. Gazman in the pits refueling. Yax as well, Ben, Slenderfella, and Cool Dude Boys. Whoops, apologies for that. Don't know what button I hit there, but that paused the replay for a moment. Cool Dude Boy and Crispoo both into the pits as well. I did not pick up on the fact that Cool Dude Boy was on the hards. Apologies for that. That feels like a relatively notable thing. So, 2 Ferraris, 4 Mercedes into the pits. None of the Porsches in. Bunny's the only Mercedes that stays out on track as he runs onto the grass on Skyline, and look at the state of that front right. So for both him and Victory Reign, in fact, both of them very, very much struggling on that front right soft compound tire. Victory Reign sits in second, though, so looking a little bit better than Bunny's, although not by much, only 1 position, in fact. Silent Wolf, though, looks very, very strong, out in first. Another fastest lap of the race, last lap, a 2:02.4.33. That is an incredible lap time. Absolutely brilliant. In fact, that might be faster than the pole position lap time. I'm going to confirm that, as we do see now Silent Wolf heading into the pit lane on those mediums. Very, very cautious on that pit entrance. Very, very easy to mess it up, in fact. Little bit more aggressive from Victory Reign. Keeps it clean throughout, though. Bunny's quite aggressive on the pit entrance as well, as Cherry Bomb, as predicted, does stay out another lap. We'll see how many more laps he can go. I would think this would end up being his last one now, that being lap 9 that he's entering now, as he does take the lead of the race. So Ferrari and Porsche have now led this race, although we will see this Porsche entering the pits soon enough, I would imagine. Bunny's in the pits, as well as Victory Reign and Silent Wolf. Ajax enters the pits, so does Aloy. We'll see if Rob on drums makes the same decision. He does not. So Rob on drums will go another lap. However, Tiny Terror does enter the pits on this lap. Yax stays out. Of course, Yax just freshly off of the pit stop. So Gazman is ahead of Bunny's. Gazman has come out of the pits ahead of Bunny's, so he's undercut his teammate. The Man Filter Mercedes jumps well ahead of the Sega Mercedes, but he can't quite get ahead of Victory Reign there, and I was supposed to be checking if Silent Wolf's fastest lap is faster than the pole position time. It is not. It is not faster by 17 thousandths of a second. So on the medium tires, only 17 thousandths of a second off of the pole position lap time. Silent Wolf is absolutely unstoppable right now. Victory Rain looking good as well, admittedly, sitting in second position, the purple and white Victory Fuel Porsche. That is a beautiful livery, I have to say. I do love the paint schemes on this season's grid. Genuinely some brilliant liveries here, and we can watch them going through turns 17 and 18. If we get that camera view again, we'll see the Vodafone Mercedes next. We do indeed get that view again. iHeartRadio, Deutsche Post, both of those going through. I do hope I'm not butchering the pronunciation of that. Admittedly, I do not know German, so apologies if I am. As we do get to see Ben getting past Rob on drums now. To a very nice move for Ben. He does have fresh softs compared to Rob on drums on his 9th lap on these softs, but nonetheless a nice move out of turn 18 into turn 19. Now we go through turn 20, 21, and 22. The final corner is, of course, turn 23. Lots of turns on the circuit for these drivers to navigate. Cherry Bomb finally into the pits at the end of lap 9. He will unleash Silent Wolf into the lead of this race, and why don't we watch him navigate the beginning of this mountainous section on board with the Mauritian driver. So a very twitchy Ferrari there. Silent Wolf managing to keep the car going forwards throughout. He looks quite in control of that car, I should say. But the Ferrari definitely a little bit twitchy up the hill. We'll watch him heading down the S's now. We'll look further back. Victory Rain. Gasman is keeping Victory Rain honest here. We can see that as the Man Filter Mercedes, a 2:02.9 last lap. We don't really get to see what lap time Victory Rain set last lap, a 2:19 being his out lap, but we'll see on this occasion what he sets compared to Gasman. Gasman on slightly older softs than Victory Rain by about a lap. Bunny sits behind in the Sega Mercedes. Same age softs as Victory Rain. Almost identical tire wear to Victory Rain on the previous stint. Still about identical to Victory Rain on this stint. Victory Rain using ever so slightly more fuel so far on this stint though. But you can see the difference in fuel Gasman has compared to Bunny's and Victory Rain around him, as he has just under half of his tank left, while Victory Rain sits on about 3/4 of his fuel remaining. The Vodafone Mercedes, driven by the Canadian Yax, is heading down the circuit in 5th, up to turn 23, Murray's Corner. Next up will be Hell Corner, that is turn 1. Cherry Bomb sits behind him, but he does have fresher softs, so Cherry Bomb will definitely have a tire advantage here over both Yax and Ben, but he does sit in a Mercedes sandwich. Ajax behind in Porsche, followed by his teammate Aloe. Slenderfella completes the top 10 for the time being, ever-improving pace for him, a 2:04.9 on the previous lap. We'll see what he gets this lap. Perhaps a small mistake on this lap, given a 2:07.9 on this occasion, 3 seconds down on his fastest lap. Cool Dude Boy set to 2:06.9 on the mediums now. Tiny Terror under pressure from Rob on drums, who sits on the soft compound tires. The Ferraris only have mediums and hards available to them. So if you're on the softs, you're guaranteed to have a tire advantage over the Ferraris. So of course, Rob on drums will be sitting very comfortably now behind Tiny Terror. He'll be looking for a move anytime though. Chris Boost sits in 14th, and 15th is Pool Shark. So Ferraris, I mentioned it before, but having a bit of a tough day, holding 3 of the bottom 3 spots. As Rob on drums does get ahead of Tiny Terror, we're going to go back and get a better view of that. We just switched onto that right after it happened, So how does this happen? How does the Porsche make it through on the Ferrari? A slight mistake for the Francorchamps Motors Ferrari, and Rob on drums, having put pressure on him, swoops up 12th position. Cool Dude Boy sits in 11th. The Hot Wheels Ferrari. I do wonder how hot his tires are. I found the tires, while driving this circuit, I found the tires did not warm up very well. I do wonder how many drivers will be struggling with that. But, so probably not very hot wheels for Cool Dude Boy. Silent Wolf, though, does sit in first position. What is it going to be on this occasion? A 203.2. What's Victory Rain going to set? It is a 202.9. For Gasman, a 204.0, so losing pace compared to Victory Rain. A 203.0 for Bunnies, who gains a second on Gasman on that lap. Yax under pressure from Morecherry. Let's stick on board here in the offset cockpit cam from Morecherry. He sits on the back of Yax. We could see another move into Quarry here, down towards turn 2. In the slipstream, how far behind is Ben? He's falling back a little bit. We'll go back up to Morecherry here, sit on board with him as he looks to see. He looks at the outside. The slipstream is not enough on this occasion. He's going to dive up the inside. He is not close enough to be making that move. And Yax does manage to resist the pressure. He stays ahead through turns 3 and 4 now. A very difficult braking zone for 4 as you come off the kink of turn 3. Up through 5 now, up towards Griffin's Mount, that's turn 6. Now through turn 7, through 8, through 9, and next up is turn 10, that's, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that actually, that's turn 10. Now we go through Skyline, into the S's. Yax does stay ahead for the time being. Morecherry will have to put a lot more pressure on him to get past the Canadian. Yax, we saw in Formula X, a very rapid driver. We've seen it in GTE as well, to be honest, but some fuel mistakes towards the beginning of the season have cost him better results. I do wonder where Yax would be in the championship at the moment without those mistakes, but Yax, I think, over the past few rounds, proving what he is capable of. And he is definitely a force to be reckoned with. On the circuit, as there's a mistake further back. Who is that? It looks like Cool Dude Boy loops it around. He's coming up towards turn 9, now turn 10. Apologies, now turn 9, now turn 10. And what happens here is he gets up to Skyline, he's on the grass, and he hits the wall. So Cool Dude Boy, an exceptional recovery there for the Hot Wheels driver. The Hot Wheels Ferrari driver, the Brit, number 86. Wow, that was quite the what was that noise? I think Tiny Terror has hit the wall as well, possibly. We see the yellow flags just being cleared up for Cool Dude Boy, as it looked like there was contact with the wall. It is contact with the wall for Tiny Terror through the S's, but doesn't lose too much time to Rob on drums. He'll be looking to push forwards and get back up towards Rob on drums, the American trying to pull away now, but Tiny Terror won't be letting him do that anytime soon. Gasman sits in third still, second is Victory Rain, and first is Silent Wolf. And Silent Wolf, I know I keep complimenting his pace, but just wow, look at those lap times. That is just unbelievable. Lap 8 and 9, his in-lap and his out-lap, but 203.0, 203.2, 202.7, no driver is able to match that. Certainly not on the mediums. Victory Rain getting pretty close to matching that, actually, on those soft compound tires. But on the mediums, I don't think anybody else could be doing that. Gasman looking low on fuel. Could this be the lap that he pits? I would have thought he'd go to lap 14. He did a 7-lap stint on his first stint, but looking at that fuel, he might be in the pits this lap. Bunnies, his teammate, is closing in on him. The number 99 Sega Mercedes closing in on the number 89, apologies, blanked on Gasman's race number for a moment there, but the number 89 Man Filter Mercedes. Looking back at Bunnies there. Gonna go out of that view now to the off-board view. A beautiful beautiful camera views along the circuit. Do not want to waste those. Number 89, Manfilter Mercedes, sits now in third. We'll see if he pits at the end of this lap. Surely he has to. Looking at that fuel, we look up at Victory Lane now in second. He's not going to be pitting anytime soon. We'll see Gasman, though. Does he peel off to the left here? He does indeed. Gasman decides to pit at the end of lap 13. So a very interesting pit strategy there for Gasman. Bunnies in third now will be released to try and chase down Victory Lane. And Victory Lane and Bunnies looking almost identical on tires once again. Here is Yax ahead of Cherry Bomb and Ben. This trio keeping quite close together over the past quite a few laps now, I believe. Well, since more Cherry's pit stop, I suppose, is when they've been so close together. Gasman about halfway through his pit stop. Aloe in ninth. Will he be able to jump Gasman in the pits? Gasman comes out of the pits now. Where is Aloe? Aloe's going to be behind. So a very nice pit exit for Gasman. It lets him come out pretty well onto this long straight. Doesn't have to worry about turn 1, just has to head up down towards turn 2. And I realize how much of an oxymoron it is that I just said up down towards, or down up towards turn 2, or however I said it. But Cool Dude Boy in 10th now. Rob on drums trying to put pressure on him. The Porsche closing in on the Ferrari. Not quite. Pulling away by 1/10 the last lap was Cool Dude Boy. Let's move up towards the midfield. We know Cherry Bomb, Yax, and Ben all very close together. Cherry Bomb looks to be the one pressuring Yax at the moment, as a big snap of oversteer for Yax there. Let's watch how they manage these corners. Look at that exit for Cherry Bomb. What an exit. He'll have an incredible run now on Yax. Let's see how the Porsche driver manages. Green and yellow is his livery this week. I believe green and red for previous races this season. He decides to back out through turn 20. Switch to the inside for 21. It's not an opportunity through the chase. Through turn 22 now. He sits behind Yax still. Let's look back. Where is Ben? Ben is not close enough to make a move. Yax is going to go into the pits. What about Ben? Ben does indeed follow his teammate into the pit lane. So the two Mercedes head into the pits together. Synchronized pitting. Ajax in 7th. Gasman sits behind him now. Gasman on the fresh soft. Doesn't seem to have fueled up all the way, so doing perhaps 6-lap stints now. We'll see if Gasman can get ahead of Ajax. Surely he will at some point in his stint, although that also depends when Ajax boxes. I would imagine for some of these top drivers, Silent Wolf, Victory Lane, Bunnies, all three of them pitted on lap 8 in their first stint, so I would imagine they'll box on lap 16 this stint. They all look like they have the fuel to do it, as sliding through the S's is that Shadow Realm Racing Ferrari. Immense car control from Silent Wolf, as always, throughout this racing. Now heading down the straight, down Conrad Straight, as it is known. Victory Lane in second, looking very, very nice there. What are his lap times compared to Silent Wolf? A 2:03.4 and a 2:03.9 compared to a 2:03.5 and a 2:03.1. So on one lap, losing 8/10 on another lap, gaining 1. So a net 7/10 loss to Silent Wolf over the past 2 laps. So Silent Wolf looking very, very comfortable here in 15th position. Then it is Victory Lane in, did I just say in 15th position? In first position on lap 15. Victory Lane in second. Bunnies in third. Fourth is Cherry Bomb. Fifth is Gasman as it stands, but he is now ahead of Ajax. So we got Ajax at some point in this lap. Looks like he's far enough ahead now that it may have been perhaps near Skyline somewhere. Aloe sits behind them. but the two Mercedes very, very close together of Ben and Yax. I think I just saw Ben flashing his lights, although it may have been a trick of the light on this circuit. As you will notice, the sun is fully up now as we're going to go into this position with Ben as he bump drafts his teammate. So very, very collaborative driving there from the two Mercedes. Ben sits on the back of Yax. Yax pulling away through the chase now, though, and Ben will have to make use of that slipstream. That is sort of what you do with the bump draft, though. You sit in the dirty air, you take the loss through the corners, use the slipstream down the straights as Yax a little bit wide through turn 23, down towards turn 1 now. And it's going to be Ben who sits behind Yax, and I'd imagine he will continue to bump draft Yax. The Vodafone Mercedes will be gaining a boost from that yellow Mercedes behind him. Number 19, number 2 working together now. Rob on drums sits in 10th. Tiny Terror in 11th. 12th is Cool Dude Boy, who now enters the pits. 8 and then 7 so far are his stints. We'll see what he does next. Slender Fella sits in 14th. He'll move up to 13th in a second. A 2:04.2 for him is his new personal best of the race. Chris Boo sitting in 15th. Will he be able to jump his teammate with this pit stop for Cool Dude Boy? We will wait and see. It looks like Cool Dude Boy will get out ahead of Chris Boo. He does indeed. So Chris Boo, the Mauritian driver, sits in 15th for now, as his teammate Silent Wolf, almost a lap ahead, enters the pits himself. Richest driver in SNL is Victory Rain. Just a bit of a fun fact for you there. You can thank Cool Dude Boy for gathering those stats before the season. But our richest driver on the grid into the pits. Bunny's now into the pits as well, although if you're wondering what the richest team is, despite Victory Rain being the richest driver in-game, the richest team in-game is actually Ferrari. Cherry Bomb stays out, however, in 4th. He will move up to 1st, I would imagine. Actually, tell you what, Silent Wolf is looking very good on how much fuel he's got in the tank already. Can Cherry Bomb get ahead of Silent Wolf? No, Silent Wolf is so far ahead that even a full pit stop later, he remains ahead of Cherry Bomb. That is incredible. However, the undercut working again for Gasman, who jumps ahead of Victory Rain. Gasman will have, from the looks of things, an entire extra pit stop compared to Victory Rain, compared to Silent Wolf, and compared to Bunny's. But for the time being, he will sit ahead of Victory Rain, and Victory Rain will want to gain on and then pass Gasman as soon as physically possible, as he does not want to lose any time to Bunnies, knowing that Victory Rain will need to take a hard stint at the end of the race. Bunnies does not. Soft are the tires for the Mercedes this round. Soft hard for the Porsches, and for the Ferraris, as we've mentioned, as you've seen, the mediums on Silent Wolf all race long. It's medium hard for the Ferraris. We'll see though. Chris Boo on the mediums. Cool Dude Boy has refilled all the way on that pit stop and puts on the mediums. So we'll see what he does for his tire stints, for his tire strategy. I believe 8 then 7 laps was his strategy so far. Tiny Terror comes out of the pits in 13th. 14th is Chris Boo, and 15th is Pool Shark. It's not looking too good for Ferrari. Although they hold first position, they also hold the bottom 4 positions. Let's see, where are Ben and Yax in comparison to each other? Yax pulling away a little bit. Ben a little bit further back than he has been before, and Ajax a good distance behind as Rob on drums appears to have made a mistake. Let's watch that. He'll head through turn 9 now. Or now, I should say. I do keep mixing that up. Oh, a bit of a clatter into the wall there. No damage yet, but that will set him offline through turn 10 into Skyline into the wall. That is a bit of a contact there for Rob on drums, but the American driver does keep that Porsche going very nicely indeed, so doesn't lose too much time, although he does get ahead of him with that. But it's not too much time lost for the American. Victory Rain sits on the back of Gasman, on the back of Moorcherry. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th there in the race, but that'll be a net 2nd for Victory Rain, I would imagine, as Gasman and Moorcherry actually both needing to pit relatively soon. but Gasman having taken an entire extra pit stop compared to Morcherry so far. If I had to estimate, I would guess that that is a net P4 and 5, maybe 5, 6. I think next time these two being Cherry Bomb and Gasman, I think the next time they pit, we'll find them quite close to Yax and Ben, as we saw Morcherry in the sandwich of these Mercedes recently. So notably, as much as all the Ferraris, many of the Ferraris were close together, it's quite close together for many of the Mercedes as well. 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th for the Mercedes, as well as, I believe, let's see, where is Slenderfella? Slenderfella sits. I've lost track of Slenderfella. Where has he gone? Slenderfella in 10th. That's Rob on drums in the pit lane. Then falling a little bit further back from Yax. Actually, let's compare lap times. Yax, definitely a bit faster on the previous lap, 1.8 seconds to be exact. Faster than Ben last lap. But Ben looking good on this lap, a bit of a mistake there. But heading into the S's now, he's 3.5 tenths up on his personal best lap, so that is looking good for Ben on this lap. Bunny sits in 5th. 4th is Victory Rain. It's a three-way battle here. We'll go on board with Victory Rain. It's a mistake from Morcherry that will put him behind both Victory Rain and Gasman. Now Victory Rain will look for an opportunity around the outside of turn 23. Is this an opportunity for Victory Rain? Solid defense there from Gasman, but it's going to be a switchback for Victory Rain. Will there be an opportunity for the Brit against the Scotsman? Can he make it down the inside of Hell Corner? That is turn 1, number 93 on number 89, two of the closest numbers on this grid. And it is number 93, Victory Fueled Porsche for Victory Rain, who seems to be ahead now, but it will be slipstream down towards turn 2 for Gasman, on board with the Man-Filter Mercedes. Can he make it through into Quarry? He does for just a moment. Almost contact there between the Mercedes and the Porsche, but it is Gasman who prevails, who gets back ahead of Victory Rain. Victory Rain has to sit behind. Surely no moves will be made up the hill. It would be difficult to make one down the hill. Your next good overtaking opportunity is into turn 21. We sit only at about turn 7 right now. So Victory Rain will surely have to sit behind Gasman for a bit. It's a mistake for Gasman though, and Victory Rain makes a move into turn 10. What a move for the Porsche driver. If Gasman can stay behind, he can maybe utilize the slipstream down towards the chase on this lap, but it will be a difficult ask for him to get back ahead of Victory Rain, who seems to have made the move and made it concrete this time. What a battle between these two drivers. Gasman absolutely piling the pressure on Victory Rain. Victory Rain able to make up a position based off a mistake for Gasman. And Gasman nowhere near close enough to be making a move on this occasion on Victory Rain. So Gasman just has to focus on his pace. I would guess that he has 1 lap left in his stint based on his fuel, although it will be a little bit difficult to make that fuel last actually, so I could see him boxing this lap. What will it be? It looks to be a pit stop for Gasman now. The number 89 Mercedes heads into the pit lane now. We go into the car of Bunny's 9999, his teammate behind him. Sitting there, what is it going to be on this lap? It's a 2:03.6 for Bunny's. What about for Victory Rain? Victory Rain battling over the past couple laps. A 2:04.4 and 2:04.2 on the past 2 laps. It's a 2:03.6 and a 2:03.5 on the past 2 laps for Bunny's, who has been gaining on Victory Rain, so he can probably thank his teammate for that, who has likely held up Victory Rain a little bit in that battle. Comparatively, let's just take another look at the insane pace of Silent Wolf. Not too much action for the Ferrari driver so far this race. A 2:03.8 on lap 18, a 2:02.7 on lap 19. Silent Wolf continues his blistering pace here on lap 20. Mount Panorama, we get a beautiful view down the mountainside. through this tricky section. We see Silent Wolf sliding the car through the S's on pretty much every lap that we watch him. Exceptional car control there, and it looks a lot smoother there for Victory Rain, and yet Victory Rain can't gain despite that. It's Crispoo there, the lap driver, right in front of him in 15th position. On outlap, Victory Rain is looking to lap Crispoo. Pool Shark sits in 14th, 13th is Rob on drums, but Slenderfella in the pits will drop a couple positions now. We'll see, I think Rob on drums will be ahead of him, but we'll see about Pool Shark. Pool Shark does just barely jump Slenderfella in his Ferrari, so Pool Shark now takes 13th position, behind Rob on drums, Tiny Terror, Cool Dude Boy in 10th, 9th is Aloe, 8th Ajax, 7th Cherry Bomb, 6th is Ben, 5th is Gasman, 4th is Yax, so Yax pulling well ahead of Ben now, but Gasman now in between the two drivers himself. So Gasman sits in 5th, looking good for the Mercedes. 4th is Yax, 3rd is Bunnies, 2nd is Victory Rain, and 1st is Silent Wolf. I would say at the moment, undeniably, Silent Wolf will be champion as it stands. This would be his first championship in SNL. We'll see if he can pull it off, though. He does have to hold on to these mediums for the remainder of this stint, and then presumably he'll put on the hards for a full stint, unless he chooses to take a shorter stint on the mediums again, and then an even shorter stint on the hards. Hard to say for sure what he'll do, but Silent Wolf does still need to hold on. But it's looking good for the Ferrari driver. The Mauritian sits in 1st. Victory Rain in 2nd. Looking good to maintain 2nd. As a matter of fact, it's looking like our top 4 in the championship will be our top 4 on the road as it stands, as Gasman ahead of Ben. Yax coming out of the pits now. So Yax has just taken a pit stop. We saw him boxing. That may be why Ben fell back so much, in fact, as Ben was saving an entire extra lap of fuel compared to Yax. So we'll see how this goes for Ben. Ooh, a little bit rough through the section before Skyline onto the grass a bit, but Ben does keep the car going nicely. No big mistakes there, just a couple little ones. Little inconsequential tap on the wall, it looks like, for Gasman through the S's now, as the man-filter Mercedes heads down the hill. They'll head down towards the chase now. We'll look to see if there are any battles going on at the moment. It looks like Rob on drums and Tiny Terror not too far away, so we might watch them in a minute. Cool Dude Boy looking pretty comfortable there. It's a big gap up to Yax, though. The strategy battle will be very interesting here, though, as we'll see Ben needing to pit at the end of this lap, I believe. Indeed, looking at his fuel, he will definitely need to be in the pits on this lap. Cherry Bomb looking good on fuel. He pitted very recently, a 2:03.8 last lap. We'll see what his pace is like this lap. It is indeed Ben into the pit lane on this lap. Gasman continues in 4th, a 2:02.5 last lap. That is some blistering pace from the Mercedes driver, gaining on his teammate who only set a 2:04.1 last lap, a 2:03.7 for Victory Rain last lap, and a 2:03.8 for Silent Wolf. So Victory Rain gaining 1/10 on Silent Wolf last lap. 2 laps ago, however, it was a personal fastest for Victory Rain, a 2:02.495. Not quite the fastest lap of the race, but definitely a very, very nice lap time there for the Porsche driver. A 2:02.8 on the other hand, 2 laps ago for Silent Wolf. As we go through the grid, I have to say, I love the sound of these cars. The Mercedes especially just sounds brilliant. Let's sit on board with Ben and listen to him. Listen and watch as he heads up the mountain. Now Ben heads back down the mountain, navigating those corners very nicely indeed on those fresh softs. It is, of course, his outlap. We'll see Cool Dude Boy behind. Rob on drums definitely putting some pressure on Tiny Terror now, and I have to say this is a beautiful view inside the car, looking out at the Ferrari. Now we go on board with the Porsche, a very much tighter line through the beginning of the S's for Rob on drums. Following behind Tiny Terror, he makes a mistake, picks up some damage, and the Porsche actually has Slenderfella right on the back of him now. I'm glad I took a look behind him like that, because I did not notice just how close the Brit was to the American. BWT versus iHeartRadio, which shall prevail on the run down to turn 20. On the inside, it is Slenderfella using that straight line speed very, very nicely indeed. Goes down the inside, down towards turn 20, and is ahead well before the braking zone for the chase. Turn 21 and 22. Here we are. Down towards turn 23 next. We'll see Tiny Terror has pulled away from this battle a little bit after that mistake for Rob on drums. Tiny Terror looking very comfortable there. Setting a new personal best lap on that lap. A 2:05.5 flat. So very nice, precise lap time there for Tiny Terror. We'll take a look at the front of the grid. So Silent Wolf sits in first. About how far ahead of Victory Rain? Let's see. I should have looked at... Okay, we'll see in a second just how close Victory Rain is. Victory Rain is about 10 seconds behind Silent Wolf, it seems, so that is a very, very substantial gap for Silent Wolf, and I would think that these top three, they've all pitted every 8 laps, so I would think that these three will be making their pits at their final pit stops at the end of this lap, if they all choose to do a 7-lap stint to the end. Silent Wolf will presumably... Silent Wolf and Victory Rain would both put on the hards if that were the case, while Bunnies would put on another set of the softs. We'll see what is the decision though, as the hards may be a bit detrimental at this circuit. We'll have to wait and see. Do Silent Wolf, Victory Rain, and Bunnies feel the need to put on... well, not Bunnies, he can only put on the softs, but will Silent Wolf and Victory Rain feel the need to put on the softs or mediums one more time and take a very, very short hard stint at the end of the race? Gasman looking good here. He'll have one more pit stop as well. I would think he will pit at the end of next lap, not at the end of this lap. That would put him at the end of another 6-lap stint now, and it would give him another 6-lap stint to the end on the soft tires once again. Cherry Bomb looking very nice here. When did he last pit? He boxed, it seems, at the end of lap 18, so doing 9-lap stints. I would expect to see him at in the pits at the end of lap 27 to put on the hard tires for laps 28, 29, 30, and 31. So only 4 laps on the hards for Cherry Bomb, should my prediction hold correct. And into the pits is Silent Wolf, as we seem to have lost a driver in this race. It seems we've had a disconnect for Crispu, unfortunately. Into the pits comes Victory Rain as well. Bunnies will presumably be the same. Look at the state of that front left for him. Front right, apologies, not front left. I mean, his front left isn't much. Ooh, hits the pit wall. Bunnies very aggressive on the pit entrance there and bonks into the pit wall on the inside there. Gasman has no such issues, as there is no pit wall on the inside of turn 23. Looks like Gasman will be still behind Silent Wolf. It tells us for a moment that he's ahead, but Silent Wolf immediately exits the pits well ahead of Gasman. Next up is Victory Rain. Let's take a look. Silent Wolf is indeed on the hards. He will be going to the end of the race from here on these hard compound tires. He's refilled the full. He's put on the hards. 7 laps to go. 7 laps is what separates Silent Wolf and his first ever SNL championship. He's been fighting for race wins since day 1 of SNL GTE. He fought for the race win in Spa way back in Season 1. In fact, he won way back in Fuji in Season 1. He's been fighting for wins and championships ever since, but he hasn't gotten any championships yet. He's got 1 stint between him and the championship, but those hard tires will be difficult, so maybe I should stop talking about that just so I don't curse him. Gasman sitting in second, looking good. He'll pit at the end of this lap, I believe. We'll see in a moment just to be sure, though. Or maybe I do have that wrong. I'm not entirely sure. We will see soon, though. Victory Rain sitting in third. That'll be a net second position. Should be a net third for Bunnies, as Cherry Bomb will also need to pit again. He has yet to put on the hard compound tires. Oh, Silent Wolf. Not Silent Wolf, apologies. Victory Rain does also have the hard compound tires on, so he will definitely be going to the end from here. Cherry Bomb sits in fourth. He'll need to put the hard tires on at the end of this stint. Bunnies has fulfilled his tire requirements as of stint 2, as he has double softs. So all he had to do was take 1 pit stop, put the softs on again, and he fulfilled his tire requirements. So, flat out to the end of the race here from Bunnies, I would imagine 7 laps. I would think we'll be flat out in that Mercedes. Gasman into the pits. He should be flat out to the end of the race from here. He won't refuel all the way. He'll refuel enough for 6 laps, I would think, which should be just under 100%. We'll see exactly what it is in a minute. But Silent Wolf sits in first, followed by Victory Rain. Cherry Bomb in third, but still needs to pit. Gasman sits in fourth, but that'll go to Bunnies in just a moment. It does indeed. Bunnies takes 4th position. Gasman now relegated down to 5th. Yax will need to box again, it seems. He sits in 6th. It's 85% fuel for Gasman. He will be going to the end of the race from here, and you can see he has not been boxing every couple laps. Thank you, game, for trying to make us believe that. Yax in 6th. 7th is Ben, so these two still relatively close together. Aloe in 8th. 9th is Ajax. 10th, Slenderfella. 11th, Cool Dude Boy. 12th, Rob on Drums. 13th, Tiny Terror, who we've seen quite close to Rob on Drums a fair bit recently. And 14th is Pool Shark. As you can see, Bunnies has just lapped him there in 4th position. Cherry Bomb in 3rd. How soon will he pit? I think Cherry Bomb will be into the pits. It's hard to say if it'll be at the end of this lap or the end of next lap. But I'd say, looking at his fuel, I would imagine it'll be the end of this lap, actually. Sitting in 3rd, the DK Engineering Porsche will be into the pits. It will put on the hards, and it will run to the end of the race, presumably. That seems like the most logical option. Gasman is in 5th. We'll look to see in a lap or two's time whether or not he's gaining on his teammate Bunnies, but Bunnies is improving by 0.2 on this lap on his personal best. We can't currently see what his personal best is, but at worst, it is a 2:03.5. We'll see if he continues to improve. We'll see what it becomes in a moment. Yax looking good. I think he'll go 1 more lap before he pits. Ben could go 2 more laps, I would imagine, and Cherry Bomb is indeed into the pits on this lap. So Cherry Bomb will presumably put on the hard compound tires. We'll see Bunnies does go for a personal best. It's a 2:02.597. How does that compare to Gasman's best? 5.53. So very close on their personal bests are the top 2 Mercedes. We've seen them pretty close in the championship before. As it stands, championship order would be Silent Wolf, Victory Rain, Bunnies, Gasman. Could Yax jump Cool Dude Boy? I don't think you would. No, Yax would not jump Cool Dude Boy. So Cool Dude Boy, as it stands, despite being in 10th, would hold on to 5th place. I think after that it would be Yax, though. Unless Ben... Well, it's hard to say past Ben. I'm not brilliant at quick maths, so that is not my strong suit. But what I can say at the moment is, looking at the fact that there's a Porsche in second, but then 3 Mercedes behind him, followed by the next couple Porsches. It's hard to say for sure, but I think as it stands, Mercedes would win the Constructors' Championship. Porsche do need to gain 6 points on them to beat them. At that point, I would imagine they would win on countback, given Victory Reign's win. But as it stands, I believe Mercedes leading the Constructors' Championship. The net Constructors' Championship. Again, a lot of moving parts in that maths, though, so don't quote me on that. But Silent Wolf sits in first, Victory Reign in second, third is Bunnies, fourth Gasman as it stands, fifth is Ben. Ben will not be into the pits at the end of this lap, but the end of the next lap, judging by his fuel. Cherry Bomb sits in sixth on the hard compound tires. I would imagine he'll jump up to fifth after Ben's pit stop, but fifth, may be his limit using those hards. Aloe looking good in seventh though, could start to gain on Cherry Bomb. Eighth is Ajax, ninth is Yax, who's looking like he's struggling a little bit down the S's. And it's not looking like it was a brilliant in-lap, a few seconds slower than most in-laps we've seen, I believe. So not quite sure what's happened there. Hard to say. Cool Dude Boy sitting very comfortable in 10th. Nobody near him at all. As we'll see heading down the S's now. Rob on drums in 11th. 12th is Tiny Terror. 13th is Slender Fella, and 14th is Pool Shark, who does currently have blue flags. Looks like Gasman is coming up to lap in now, so Gasman in 4th position. We'll be looking to do that very shortly. Ben is into the pits on this lap, in fact. So I don't remember, I think I said I thought he'd be in the pits at the end of next lap, so that is my mistake. He pits on to another set of the softs, of course, refills 61%, and is released out into 8th. He can see Ajax in his sights. And you know what? I think it's hard to say, Porsche might even be in the lead of the Constructors' Championship as it stands. There are a lot of moving parts to that, though. Silent Wolf sits in first still. Some stunning pace on the hards. 204.6, 204.9, 204.4, and 204.7 for Victory Reign. So actually quite close. Quite even on pace for Victory Reign and Silent Wolf at the moment. Bunny's 2 202s in a row now, though, on those soft compound tires. He is gaining on Victory Reign, and therefore on Silent Wolf as well. Gasman sits in 4th, a 218 on the last lap. That was his out lap, though, and a 202.9 on the previous lap. We'll see what he sets on this lap. Cherry Bomb on his nowhere out lap on his first flying lap of this stint. We'll see what he can do on the hards. Aloe is on the softs though, so he'll be looking very, very nice in comparison. Then, still close to the back of Ajax, we have 3 laps to go at the end of this one. Yax sitting in 9th. Feels a little bit further back than you might have expected, but looking good. You can see Ben up in the distance there as well, heading down towards the chase. Cool Dude Boy up now through Skyline, down into the S's now. Rob on drums in 11th, 12th is Tiny Terror, 13th Slender Fella as the reserve for Jam, and 14th is, of course, Pool Shark. Silent Wolf 2.5 laps to go. That's what separates him and the championship, the Mauritian, and absolute success. Victory Reign in second is going to be hunting him down, but on the same tires as him, there will be no tire advantage. Not like the one that Bunnies has. A 203.5 on the previous lap compared to a 204.9 from Victory Reign. Gained 1.4 seconds on that lap. Comparatively, Gasman gained 6/10 on his teammate last lap, so Gasman looking very nice here as well in terms of his pace. A 206.0 for Cherry Bomb in 5th on the hards. Aloe in 6th, a 203.9 on those softs. Ajax, a 206.1. Also on hards, but it is softs for Ben, who had his outlap last lap, so not a comparable lap time there. We'll see what he can do on this lap, however, to close in on Ajax. Yax sits behind, a 203.1 last lap, his personal best of the race, so looking strong for Yax. 206.9 on the mediums for Cool Dude Boy last lap. Up by almost a tenth and a half just through Sector 1 alone, though. Rob on drums sits in 11th at 206.9 last lap, followed by a 206.6 for Tiny Terror last lap. So the Francorchamps Motors Ferrari will be looking to put some pressure on the Porsche, the iHeartRadio Porsche. Number 42 versus number 59. We've seen these two together quite a few times before in this race. We see that beautiful red and yellow Ferrari. That is what most Ferraris should look like. I say that. I do want to preface that by saying I do love all of the Ferrari liveries on this grid. They all look brilliant. Matter of fact, I love all the liveries on this grid generally. This is such a beautiful grid. And I have to say, SNL never fails in terms of the beauty of its liveries. Who are the closest people on track? Lap 29 for many, lap 30 for some. It does seem Rob on drums and Tiny Terror are two of the closest on track at the moment. But Ben is right on the back of Ajax now. 203.2 last lap, 205.5 last lap for the two of them respectively. Aloe, Cherry Bomb, Gasman, Bunnies, and Victory Rain and Silent Wolf not all that close together. Just over a lap to go. Silent Wolf is looking strong. A 203.6 last lap, a 204.5 last lap for Victory Rain compared to a 203.7 on the softs for Bunnies. Bunnies was a tenth slower on the softs last lap compared to Silent Wolf on the hards, and seeing that, it is irrefutable that with 1 lap to go, Victory Rain deserves to be, Silent Wolf deserves to be in this position. Silent Wolf has 1 lap to go before he can call himself a GTE champion. 1 lap, no mistakes, Silent Wolf, and you've got this championship right in the bag. Silent Wolf leads from Victory Rain, from Bunnies, who is closing in on Victory Rain a bit, but he's going to be a bit far behind from the looks of things. Gasman a bit far back as well, an even bigger gap, a little bit of grass there on the right-hand side of his car, just making a little bit of a mistake through turn 23. Looking strong for Mercedes and Porsche, though. It's hard to say how the championship will go. I believe, as it stands, Porsche are ahead, but we'll see. Ben is going to be putting so much pressure on Ajax here. We'll see what he can do. We have 1 lap to go, plus 1 corner for these drivers. Oh, as Rob is off the track, where's Tiny Terror? Can he take advantage of that? Tiny Terror sits behind Rob. Will he be able to take advantage of Rob's mistake? This is a good place to be. We can see Tiny Terror battling Rob. We can see Silent Wolf right behind him. We'll take a quick look up at Ajax and Ben. They're so close together through Hell Corner. So close. They'll be going up to Quarry. So close together. Silent Wolf has now lapped Tiny Terror. He'll be looking to lap Rob, but if Rob can stay ahead of Silent Wolf here, he guarantees himself 11th position, so he will be aiming to keep himself there. Where are Ajax and Ben? Ajax maintains his lead, not lead, but 7th position lead over Ben in 7th for the time being. Find the front of the grid, though, once again, through the chase for the last time this season for Silent Wolf. Silent Wolf, 4 out of 5 wins should he manage this last corner just fine. Oh, it was a bit of a mistake, actually. Silent Wolf spins it at the last corner of the entire season. Silent Wolf, though, he is going to be your Season 10 champion. Absolute dominance from the Mauritian driver. A mistake on the last corner. Pretty much the only mistake he's made all season, though. Victory Rain will come home in 2nd. 3rd will be Bunnies. Our top 3 in the championship will be the top 3 in the race. There's Gasman, Cherry Bomb, Aloe, Ajax, and Ben. We'll keep an eye on those two because they could be battling as Gasman takes 4th. 5th is going to be Cherry Bomb, surely, with Aloe too far behind to make a move. In the slipstream, Ben and Ajax, could this be what decides the Constructors' Championship? I believe even if Ben gets Ajax, it will be Porsche. But we'll see. It's going to be so close. Down towards the chase. Into turn 21. Into 21. Then 22. Can Ben get Ajax? Ajax is on the grass a bit. Can he make the move? He does indeed. He's got the position, but they're side by side to the last corner. Ajax switches to the inside at the last moment. Hits the curb. Off into the grass. Louis and Cherry Bomb take 5th and 6th, but it's going to be 7th for Ben, 8th for Ajax. And Yax is going to be right on the back of him. Yax is going to take 9th, Ajax 8th, Ben 7th. Cool Dude Boy will be 10th. 11th will surely go to Rob. 12th is Tiny Terror. 13th is Slenderfellow. 14th is Pool Shark. And an absolutely chaotic end to this race. We see a mistake from our champion, our new champion, whom congratulations must be said to, on the final corner of the entire season. Meanwhile, it's going to be Cool Dude Boy who takes 10th. We saw a fight for the Constructors' Championship going into the final corner. Cool Dude Boy will take 10th with a 2:05.1 on the last lap. That is his personal best lap of the race, as Rob on drums runs a little bit wide, but I believe Porsche will be Constructors' Champions, if I'm not mistaken, as Rob on drums comes home 11th and finishes out our race. Silent Wolf, take a bow. First ever time being SNL champion in GTE of all places. GTE, such a competitive championship ever since the first season. And Silent Wolf, you are the new champion. Well done to you. Let's get a better camera angle than that. Maybe we'll need to go back to the first one if we can get it to it. But Silent Wolf, champion. Well, why don't we just go into photo mode for a moment? Because Silent Wolf, what a drive. Mediums and hards had a tire disadvantage all race long. That didn't stop him. Number 41 is on top. Mauritius back on top. We haven't seen that since season 7, I believe, with Speed Hunter. It is victory for Silent Wolf. He adds his name to a list, an illustrious list of SNL champions and GTE champions. For GTE champions, that I can list off the top of my head without a doubt. Matt Psycho in Season 1, Matt Psycho in Season 2, Illusion in Season 3, Victory Rain in Season 4, Season 5 was Speed Hunters first, Season 6, Cool Dude Boy, Season 7, Speed Hunters returned to the top, Season 8, Victory Rain took it again with a dominant season that season. Season 9, last season, was Matt Psycho, and now the new name added to that list is Silent Wolf. He won in Season 1, he won a race in Season 1, I should say, at Fuji. He's won races in many of the seasons since then, winning in Season 3 at the Nordschleife, winning not last season, 2 seasons ago at the Nordschleife as well. He's come back full time, and he's taken the championship in doing so. That is dominance from the Mauritian driver. Well done, Silent Wolf. Take a bow. It will be second in the championship for Victory Rain, no doubt about that, as the Mercedes drop blocking our view there. We'll get to him in a moment, but it is Victory Rain who will take second in the championship, runner-up. He'll be pleased with that, I think. A tough season in that Porsche, but second place, a good result. Third will be Bunny's 9999, I believe equaling his best SNL championship result. No apologies, he will have gotten second last season. But a good season for Bunnies as well. It's been a brilliant season for Gasman, who should take third position in that man-filter Mercedes, a beautiful livery. The team principal of Mercedes, 2 podiums this season, and 4th place in the championship. Not a bad season at all. It should, I believe, be Cool Dude Boy, who will take 5th in the championship. And unfortunately, my quick maths are not good enough to get anything past that. If I had to say, actually, I think More Cherry will take 6th in the championship, but it's hard to say for sure. In fact, it may be More Cherry, then Ajax, then Yax, as the next three people in the championship after Cool Dude Boy. Cool Dude Boy definitely comes home in 5th position, though. Definitely not outscored by 22 points. Or 18 points even. Nope, 20. How much would he need to be outscored by? He'd need to be outscored by 18 points to lose that position. He is not outscored by 18 points by Yax. So he definitely does take 5th in the championship. On the Constructors' Championship side of things, I do not have the numbers in front of me, and these are provisional, but if my calculations are correct, Porsche win the championship on countback over Mercedes. So I believe they tie on points. I believe today, or this round, Porsche outscore Mercedes by 6 points, which is enough to even out the constructors' standings after 5 rounds. They will be tied on points. Porsche will win on countback based on Victory Lane's win in Daytona. But a very close season as Ferrari, I don't know how far back they will be. They will be 3rd. But Ferrari, not too far back themselves, but tied Mercedes and Porsche. That's, I believe, the second time we've seen a tie for the championship, for the Constructors' Championship in GTE. I can find that quickly just to confirm, I believe. 3 points was the distance last season between the teams. 2 seasons ago, almost 51 points was the distance. So yeah, this does appear to be only the second time we've had a tie for the Constructors' Championship. I'm back at Season 4 in my what I'm looking at the moment. Indeed, it was a tie back in Season 1 between Corvette and Lexus, but today it's a tie between Mercedes and Porsche come out on top this time. That makes, I believe, Porsche's second championship, possibly, in, no, not actually. I don't believe a Porsche has won the team's championship before, interestingly. But a brilliant season, nonetheless. And I gotta say, thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everybody who drove. Brilliant talent in this championship, as always. Thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everybody who joined me through Mount Panorama. 31 laps of this tricky circuit is no easy feat. But the drivers here managed it brilliantly. Silent Wolf, once again, take a bow, as well as, of course, Victory Lane, Cherry Bomb, Aloe, Ajax, and Rob on drums. Congratulations to you 5 for the Constructors' Championship. Congratulations to Silent Wolf on the Drivers' Championship. That is all from Season 10 of SNL GTE. Next up, Season 10 of Formula X, starting soon. No official announcement on that yet. I would estimate within, I'd say, certainly 100% within a month, I would think. No official announcement on that yet, but it will be coming. Get ready. See you then. Thank you again, and goodbye.